Welcome back to the channel. Today is a day where I just want to sit down and talk about gear that we probably don't even need, that we buy all the time. As filmmakers, creatives, you go through a list of things that you thought you wanted, and then you say to yourself, when you finally get it, I don't think I really need it. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And that is labeled as GAS, Gear Acquisition Syndrome. Let's get into it. One of the first things that I want to talk about is probably very crucial to every creator's filmmaking kit, and that is lighting. Lighting is one of the most important things that you could probably have. Out of everything that you do, and I say this right now, out of everything that you do, always buy the appropriate gear that you need. Lighting is essential. The first piece of equipment. This is a 45 watt LED panel, which is pretty decent. I mean, for starting out, it's okay, right? But the biggest problem with this is that it only goes in two settings, and that is 2700 Kelvin and 5500 Kelvin, which is not bad, but realistically, if you're a creator, sometimes you have to dial in your settings to get the appropriate lighting. And to only have those two settings, it really doesn't work out for you. And then on top of that, this is an LED panel that if something goes wrong, you have to buy a whole new one. So those two things really don't make it worth your money. When I first started in my filmmaking career, I purchased this panel, and maybe 5 months, not even 5 months, 4 months into using it, 2 months, if you really want to say, 2 months into using it, the knob stopped working and it started flickering. So the lights were pretty much damaged. So that just goes to show you that buying inexpensive gear can be good, but certain things you just have to go out and just shell out the money for it. And lighting is one of those things that I think everybody should just shell out the amount of money that you need for the lighting kit that's necessary. This was good for the time being, but it really didn't last. And on top of that, it comes with its softbox. It comes with its own softbox. These are one of those sets that you could probably get off of like Amazon or one of those places where it comes with these wires to put in to the slots within the bulb here. That takes a lot of time to put together, right? And it has this little softbox panel, comes with a little diffusion as well, which is good. But to set up this light, yeah, it comes with a little diffusion panel. To set up this light, it just takes a year and a day. And if you're on set or even creating in your own home, sometimes you really don't want to sit down there and spend ample amount of time setting up lighting. Even though it's most important, you don't want to do that for something that you seriously have to fix and fiddle with over and over again. So with that, I'd say that find the appropriate lighting gear. Currently, I have a small rig light and I also have a GVM light. And those lights serve me well for everything that I need. So I'd say invest in the appropriate lighting gear, right? Second piece of equipment. Let's get rid of this first. Get this off the table. Second piece of equipment is a tripod. A tripod is one of the most beneficial tools that you could probably use for either recording or if you're doing landscape photography or even just regular photography. But now the problem with this particular tripod is that even though it's good, I purchased it because it has like a monopod. You can actually detach this here, and this detachment, you can use the tripod head to turn it into a monopod. But the problem that I've found with this tripod is that one, it's so many pieces that you have to unscrew just to get your length appropriately, right? So when you go through all of this and setting it up, and mind you, this is just one leg. This is just one leg that you actually do this on. It becomes very cumbersome, and you really don't want to do that when you're out and about and you want to capture a shot, especially if you're like I said, doing landscape, or if you're doing just regular photos, like this one leg. It's very long, as you can see. It's very long here, but it's bothersome to do that, and it really isn't worth it after a while. So now, like if you had some place that had like different levels, yeah, this will be good, but for the most part, you really want to set it up. So once you set up one angle and then you go to the next one, you have to go all around and do each little bracket just to make sure that you get the appropriate height. And that is very tedious. So with that, I'd say invest in researching a good tripod. Like some of these tripods are pretty good. Like for somebody that's just doing YouTube or just want to have something, yeah, this is fine. It's decent. It's actually inexpensive, but in the long run, if you're going to take this outside with you and go different places, you probably want something a little bit better, and that's when you also have to spend out a little bit more money to get something that is worth it and that'll actually last you a long time. You know, it comes with a little plate here. It comes with a rotating collar as well, but it just doesn't serve you in the long run to go and buy something cheap and inexpensive if this is going to be something that you're really going to do. So I'd say invest in an appropriate tripod. Or if you want to go the other route, invest in a better monopod. Because sometimes you have gear that you know you might want to attach a monitor to, and this little small leg might not be able to hold it. So you want to get a monopod that's able to hold maybe, I don't know, 17 pounds. That should be able to hold your gear. Whether you have a rig on top, you should be able to take this up, go to a site, and just put it there, be stable with it, use it, shoot whatever you have to shoot, and call it a day. So invest in a good tripod. And the last piece that I want to talk about, and even though this is an old piece of gear, once again, inexpensive, it really didn't serve the purpose that I wanted it to serve. And that is a handheld stabilizer, right? This handheld stabilizer, this was called a Releno S60N, right? This was back in like maybe 2020, 2021, right? It's pretty good. I like to keep my stuff in good condition regardless of what is going on with it. So I don't know if everybody has remembered, if you ever started your filmmaking career, you've had one of these gimbals, right? Or stabilizers, I should say. And it's decent, you know. It comes with weights that you have to put on it. Now that's one of the problems that get into it when you use it. It's made for one of those DSLRs. You know, you extend it here, you actually have to stabilize it on this, do something sideways and make sure that it swings just to get it appropriately set. Once again, for the time, it was okay. But it doesn't serve in the long run to use something like this. And that's what I'm trying to get at. When you purchase gear, you want something that you can use over time. And if you can't use it over time, it really doesn't serve its purpose. See something like this, it stopped going up. I don't even know why, right? It stopped going up. So I can't even use this the way I would like to, especially if you're doing a lot of video work. It's not going to serve its purpose. And I just don't really like having things that I just can't use. So like I said, it comes with its own bag, you know, it's pretty decent carrying bag for it. It came with, let's see what's inside here. Oh, this is the top piece that you would actually attach your camera to. So that's also inside. And then it had extra weights because you had to balance it out. And this was the most tedious part of it. Because it's not like today's modern gimbals where you can just balance the top, slide it up to the side, slide it here to do the tilt, the roll axis, pan axis, whichever. You know, you actually have to actually put these weights on, right? These are about a size of maybe a $50, if anything, but just very thick. Put these on to the actual stabilizer and balance it out. They come in different sizes. Like this one is a very thin one. Also has another thin one. So it comes in varying sizes. It's like you had to actually find the appropriate weight structure just to get it set up. So just imagine being on a set. You have to be there way ahead of time just to get this set up. That God forbid you change anything on it, it's worse than using a gimbal. And that's when I say that certain pieces of gear, if you can't use it after a period of time, it doesn't make sense to buy it. Like, you buy it for the now, but that's just a waste of money. So this was maybe $50, $60 when I purchased it. And this is when gimbals were just about coming out. So having a gimbal itself was like the next step, the evolution that you could use for such a long time. Even now, people still use the gimbals. I mean, yeah, there's little functions that, you know, you might want when you switch to a gimbal, but ultimately gimbals are pretty much here to stay until a camera can just walk around with you by itself, just floating. But for right now, gimbals are pretty much here to stay. So these handheld stabilizers, even though unless you're on like a big production set, you know, you use those, what do they call them, Thanos arms or whichever, and you can actually put this into a vest and you can just stabilize it from there, which it's still pretty good, but this small one, it just really didn't serve, at least for me, it didn't serve its purpose. So that's when I say, buy something that you know you can use over time. So those are just 3 little pieces of gear that I've found that I've said I've purchased and I wish I probably would have never purchased it. So you guys drop a comment below. Let me know if there's some gear that you purchased and you said, you know what, I don't even use this anymore. I don't even know why I purchased it. You know, let me know if there's gear that you've used before, that you've been in that scenario and you just said, I don't want to use it. So until the next time, I'll see you guys in the next one. And don't forget, purchase something that you know you can use for a long time. All right? Stay creative. Peace.